Chapter 1. The Unspoken Tension. Lena and Jake had been best friends since freshman year of college. Study partners, gym buddies, and each other's emergency contacts. They knew everything about one another. Lena's fear of thunderstorms, Jake's obsession with 90s rock bands, and the way they both secretly craved something more, but never dared to cross the line. Until one rainy Friday night. After too many tequila shots at Jake's apartment, laughter turned into lingering glances. Lena's fingers brushed his arm as she reached for her drink, and neither pulled away. The air thickened with something dangerous. "We should probably stop," Jake murmured, his breath warm against her neck. Lena's pulse raced. Probably. Neither moved. Chapter 2. Crossing the Line. What started as a hesitant kiss quickly spiraled into something desperate. Clothes were discarded, hands explored, and years of suppressed desire erupted. Afterward, they lay tangled in silence, the weight of what they'd done settling between them. That was, Lena trailed off. Complicated, Jake finished. Chapter 3. The Aftermath. Awkwardness replaced their easy camaraderie. Texts went unanswered, and group hangouts became minefields of stolen glances. Lena dated a guy from her grad program. Jake threw himself into work, but the memory of that night haunted them. Then, during a camping trip under the stars, Jake finally said it. "I can't pretend I don't want you." Chapter 4. The Morning After. The sunlight spilled through Jake's blinds, painting stripes across the rumpled sheets. Lena lay awake, her back pressed against his chest, his arm draped heavily over her waist. She could feel the steady rhythm of his breathing, the warmth of his skin. Last night had been reckless, electric, incredible. But now, in the quiet of the morning, reality settled in. She shifted slightly, and Jake stirred, his fingers tightening around her hip. "You awake?" His voice was rough with sleep. "Yeah." A beat of silence. Then, softly, "Was this a mistake?" Jake exhaled, his breath warm against her shoulder. "I don't know." Lena turned to face him, searching his eyes. The usual ease between them was gone, replaced by something uncertain, something fragile. "We can't undo it," she whispered. "I don't want to," he admitted. Chapter 5. The Space Between. The next few weeks were a dance of avoidance and stolen moments. They still met for coffee, still joked about their usual nonsense, but now there was a charge in the air, an unspoken question neither dared to voice. What are we? One evening, while studying at Lena's apartment, Jake reached for her hand. She let him take it. "We should talk," he said. Lena's stomach twisted. Talking meant defining things. Defining things meant risking everything. "Okay," she said anyway. Chapter 6. The Truth. Jake's thumb traced circles over her knuckles. "I don't want to lose you," he said. "But I also don't want to pretend last night didn't happen." Lena swallowed. "What are you saying?" "That I've thought about it. A lot, and I don't think I can go back to just being friends." Her heart pounded. What if we ruin everything? Jake leaned closer, forehead resting against hers. What if we don't? Chapter 7. Intimacy Beyond Sex. They took it slow. Not because they didn't want each other. God, they did. But because this thing between them was bigger than physical desire. It was the way Jake memorized how Lena took her coffee. 2 sugars, a splash of oat milk. The way Lena knew exactly when Jake needed space and when he needed to be pulled out of his own head. It was the quiet nights spent on the couch, limbs tangled, talking about nothing and everything. It was the way they fit together, not just in bed, but in life. Sex had been the spark, but trust, The vulnerability, the unshakable knowing, was the fire. Final chapter, more than friends. Months later, on their annual camping trip, Jake handed Lena a thermos of hot chocolate, her favorite, and kissed her temple. "Remember when we were just friends?" she teased. Jake grinned. "We were never just friends." And he was right. Some bonds are too deep to name. Some loves begin long before they're spoken aloud. And sometimes, the best relationships are the ones that start with a leap of faith and a single, irreversible night. Chapter 8. The first real date. They had known each other for years. Movie nights, shared hangovers, inside jokes whispered at parties. But this was different. Jake had texted her that morning. "Dress nice, 7 p.m., no questions." Lena had stared at her phone, her stomach flipping. A date, an actual date. She spent 2 hours agonizing over outfits before settling on a deep green dress. The one Jake had once said made her eyes look like that forest we got lost in last summer. When he picked her up, he was wearing a button-down she'd never seen before, sleeves rolled to his elbows. His gaze flickered over her, lingering just a second too long. "You look..." He swallowed. "Yeah." Lena laughed, nerves dissolving. "Eloquent." Jake grinned, rubbing the back of his neck. "Shut up, let's go." Chapter 9. The Art of Learning Each Other Again. Dinner was at a tiny Italian place with flickering candles and a waiter who kept refilling their wine without asking. They talked about everything except them. Work, Jake's terrible roommate, Lena's mom's obsession with gardening. But then, as they shared tiramisu, Jake's foot brushed hers under the table. A simple touch, but it sent a jolt through her. Their eyes met. This is new, Lena thought, and also the most familiar thing in the world. Chapter 10. The First Fight. It happened 3 weeks in, over something stupid. A missed text, a misinterpreted tone. "You're being ridiculous," Jake snapped, running a hand through his hair. Lena crossed her arms. "I'm not the one who overreacts to everything." Silence. Then Jake exhaled sharply. "This is why we shouldn't have done this." The words hung between them, sharp as broken glass. Lena's chest tightened. "Do you mean that?" Jake looked away. I mean, no." She stepped closer. "Then stop pushing me away." A beat. Then his shoulders slumped, and he pulled her into him, his voice rough against her hair. "I don't know how to do this." Lena pressed her face into his chest. "Neither do I. We'll figure it out." Chapter 11. The Quiet Moments. The best parts weren't the kisses or the whispered confessions. They were the in-between. Jake tracing idle patterns on Lena's back while she read. Lena leaving coffee on Jake's nightstand before early meetings. The way they still bickered about takeout orders, but now kissed mid-argument, laughing against each other's mouths. One rainy Sunday, they stayed in bed until noon, tangled in sheets and half-hearted promises to be productive. Jake propped himself up on one elbow, studying her. "What?" Lena asked. "Nothing," he murmured, brushing a thumb over her cheekbone. "Just you." And for the first time, it was enough. Final chapter. The Leap. On their 1-year anniversary, Jake took her back to that first restaurant. Over dessert, he slid an envelope across the table. Inside was a photo, the two of them, sunburnt and grinning, from their disastrous camping trip sophomore year. Written on the back, "Best friends first, everything else after." Lena looked up, her eyes burning. "Jake?" He kissed her, slow and sure, in front of everyone, because some loves take time, and the slow burns are the ones that last.